What's going on, Internet? IG here again today, and we're kicking off a new series of the best of different application categories. So I guess the first thing that we do when we start up a new Linux distro is we want to load it up with all of our favorite software. Well, over the years I've done this many times, and I guess this series is going to be an effort for me to express to you what my favorite applications were and still are in their different categories. So to kick off the series, we're going to be having a look at best music players. And while I'm definitely not going to get a chance to have a look at all of the music players that I have tried or even haven't tried in this series, I guess the idea is that I'm just going to be showing a couple, keeping these videos as short as possible and showing you which one I think is the better music player. And I will point out the pros and cons of some of them. Again, trying to keep it as short as I can. So let's dive into this with my best music players.
Okay, so let's start out this list with the defaults that come with a lot of distributions out there. So the default for most of the GNOME or GNOME-based desktops is going to be Rhythmbox. Now, Rhythmbox is a solid choice, don't get me wrong. The library management, the fact that you can add as many files as you want to this library and it will generally handle whatever you throw at it is pretty impressive. Also, the organization and search filtering is almost instantaneous. Now, where this one falls short is the fact that you don't have a great album artwork support there. Yes, you can play back and it will instantly integrate with any of your shortcut media keys. But unfortunately, because of the fact you don't have a very nice interface when it comes to album artwork browsing, I'm going to give this one a bit of a miss. It's okay for a default, but again, lacking some of the more advanced features that make some of the other music players in this list awesome. What I will say, however, is that you can make this player awesome using plugins. Now, why I'm not mentioning Rhythmbox and claiming it as the best one is because out of the box, by default, it's a bit bare bones. It does the job brilliantly, and I'd say go after this one if you're running a GNOME desktop and want really nice integration with your GNOME desktop. Enable some plugins and you've got a very powerful and capable music player. Next up on the list, we have Amarok. Now, Amarok is the default media player for a lot of the KDE-based distributions. It has brilliant library management. Once again, you've got a few more graphical tools to play around with, and more importantly, you've got a very customizable interface. Now, as you can see, I've unlocked the interface, and now you can move around any of the panes or any of the lists that are here on the screen, so you can customize it to however you so desire. However, the biggest shortfall that I find with Amarok, and also another media player or music player coming up shortly, is the fact that it's mostly playlist oriented. So in order to find a particular artist, you simply type them in, and then you can add them from that list of artists that you have down the side here to the list on your playlist, which is on the right hand side, and then you get context-based information in the middle. Now, this isn't by any means a bad way to lay things out, but it's just a little bit cumbersome when you're wanting to just listen to a random selection of music. And yes, there are such things as dynamic playlists, which if you jump back into the playlists pane, you can set up a dynamic playlist, which is a fantastic feature if you just want to listen to randomly generated music, and they do have a fantastic automated playlist generator as well. However, these are a little bit hidden behind this interface here, differentiating between your local music, internet music, files, and podcasts. What I will say about Amarok it is the Swiss Army knife of the music players presented here today. It can do pretty much anything you can imagine in terms of managing podcasts, managing any source of internet content, and also syncing up with your iPods, iPhones, any other portable music device you might have. It handles synchronization very, very well. Definitely the choice if you're on KDE, and to be honest, while this does suit KDE a bit better, you can definitely get away with it on other platforms as well. It is available on OS X and Windows as well, which is a great plus. However, you will need to be aware of the fact that it is a bit resource hungry, especially running in the background. It's going to chew up their megs of RAM. So if you only have a limited amount of resources, I'd probably recommend something lighter. And that's where we move on to Gmusic Browser. Gmusic Browser is, again, one of the more album art driven user interfaces. You can customize this as either a straight up list, a list with the album art or just the album art. Now, me being a massive fan of album art, I generally go from the album art view, and this is definitely one of the more lightweight ones. You can tell this music player to lay itself out like any of the other popular music players that we may have already mentioned, including Rhythmbox, and of course everyone knows what iTunes looks like. Now, while this has changed a little bit over time, you can still lay out the music player to make a little bit more sense to those transitioning over. By genre, artists, albums, you can see, and with the playlist on the left hand side here, you can see this would make a little bit more sense to those who are wondering how it works. However, it does look a little bit out of place, and so that's why the Shimmer desktop, or the default view for Gmusic Browser, is probably the one to go with here. Now, it doesn't have amazing metadata management or library management for that matter. You're pretty much stuck with bare-bone tools, but again, it does give you some pretty nice contextual information at a pretty lightweight program. When it comes to automated playback and playback radio style, I guess you're probably going to be left a little lacking here, but again, for a lightweight music player, this is probably the pick for you. Moving on from the lightweight ones to another lightweight one, we're having a look at Audacious. Audacious is by far the fastest music player that you can get. If you have a machine with plenty of music files on your computer, but you don't have a lot of processing power to handle them all, then I definitely recommend Audacious. Quickest way to access all of your music in the library, and a simple double click on the artist or filtered search will get you where you need to be. Again, playlist management is a fairly simple ordeal with adding another tab along the top here, and of course you can access every song in your library by simply clicking on the library tab. The mouse over previews are useful if you are a more visual person and need to see the album art on a regular basis, but at the same time, the shortcomings in the user interface here are basically limited to how bare bones the application is. Nothing can beat Audacious in terms of speed. Finally, we have the one that in my opinion comes out on top, and that is Clementine. It has a very simple user interface based on Amarok 1.4, and basically this one makes the most sense in my opinion. I've recommended this program to many different people who have wanted a decent music player and not like the idea of running a big bloated app like iTunes, and Clementine has solved the problem nearly every time. Now, what I do like about Clementine is A, you've got filtered search, B, space for multiple playlists, C, dynamic playlists, and also tie into nearly every internet service you can want, and also you do have synchronization options there for all of your devices. Now, more importantly, this thing handles massive libraries like a champ. You can throw pretty much as many files as you like here, and it's going to be able to keep up. Now, the fact also is that you can use plenty of plugins here to make Clementine do even more than what it can do out of the box, and I think the amount of options but the simple user interface gives Clementine the win overall. Now, a close runner-up goes to Tomahawk. It's a newer kid on the block, and it definitely is more geared towards cloud music playback as opposed to your local collection. As you can see here, we do have my local collection here under the collection, and you can sort things out by artists and songs, and I love how this music player looks. However, at the moment, it seems a little bit slow and a little bit cumbersome to get to the music that you want to listen to. The amazing cloud collection features that they have and social integration like instant messaging and also posting to social networks about what you are listening to, there's some of the richest social integration I've ever seen in a music player. As you can see, the album artwork is a little bit sluggish to load, and it seems to want to reload every time you open the application. So while this app has a lot of potential, I just don't see the value in it in terms of speed of getting to the music that you love. Once again, the plugins make this particular music player amazing, as you can plug into Spotify, Beats music streaming service, even YouTube as a way to access the music that you like to listen to. A little on the sluggish side, but it has great potential.
So what did you think about the best music players? Do you agree or not? Let me know in the comments section below, and as always, if you have a suggestion for a music player or any of the applications in their different categories that I'm going to be talking about in this series, then definitely let me know in the comments section below, or on Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. And probably Twitter is the best place to find me. Anyway, that'll be all from me this time around, guys, and we will see you back here next time for Best Web Browser. Once again, if you like what you see here and you want to see more, then definitely hit that subscribe button and you'll find the next video in the best of series in your inbox very soon. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you next time.